Hey, everybody!
All right, Twitch, we're back for round two.
Round two!
Spicy brew.
God dang it.
Round two, spicy brew. At the bottom of your screen is Luke playing Abzan Cauldron Company.
Yep. Luke,
Let me tell you about this deck. Let me tell you about this deck.
Go on.
So you know Cauldron, right? Agatha's Soul Cauldron.
Very familiar with this.
Agatha's Soul Cauldron. The coolest card in Modern. Right
Aside
now.
from beans.
So we have Spike Feeder, Heliod Suncrowned, of course.
Right, the 3-mana one.
We have Walking Ballista.
A good card with Heliod.
We have Ranger Captain of Eos.
Very good
So
tutor.
opponent just never gets to play non-creature
Yeah,
spells.
because you can just sack it to make them not play.
We have Grist the Hunger Tide.
A creature in the graveyard.
Now, one would expect that a deck like this would be playing a bunch of mana dorks.
Yes.
It's not.
It's not playing
He's
any.
playing the enchantments. Utopia Sprawl? Yes. So I love this because you don't die to Fury.
Yes, that's the reason a lot of people have been going up on like Gooses.
Yeah.
Because it eats half of a Fury's damage rather than like just dying
stone
cold to it.
And at the top of your screen, you got Lonnie playing Cascade Beans. Lonnie's got a couple of spicy includes in the deck.
Slightly different than the one
He's
we saw
playing
from Zacco.
Nissa, Resurgent Animist.
Yep, very good card.
So this was a card that right after Aftermath came out, it was an auto include in these elemental decks because not only does it turn every fetch land into a Black Lotus, but it also draws the elementals, which are the namesake cards of the deck, directly to your hand.
And you can cast them with the mana from that Black Lotus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can cascade into them with a Bloodbraid Elf.
Yes.
And then play a fetch land and turn make Black Lotus mana. This deck is just pound town.
It's very good
It's
value.
so much value.
Yeah, and I think Zacco and Lonnie, they built this together, I think. They were talking to each other while they built their decks.
Yeah, I mean Team Taco.
Yeah. And so Team Taco.
That's what their name is. They're Team Taco.
So they got here together and we were kind of talking about their decks a little bit before the start, and there's some minor differences in the decks, but the heart, the core of the deck, is just destroying your opponent with value, drawing
a million cards, answering all of their permanents,
yes,
etc., etc., etc.
That being said, I do think Nissa is probably the more powerful card. Whoop. Taking a small break here. Blake is doing something. We're going to see him on camera, maybe. Oh, no, he's back. He left his phone out by the players.
I'm a dingus.
He's a ding-dong.
So, yeah, Luke looks like he's going to take a mulligan here.
Reasonable. Probably just mana issues. I saw Utopia Sprawl. I don't think I saw any lands. Oh, there is a mana dork. He does have a...
Yeah, he has Delighted Halflings in the deck. Yes, he does have mana dorks. He just has not leaned as heavily into them, and he's playing Utopia Sprawl instead.
Interestingly, it does allow you to play Heliod Suncrowned.
Yeah.
On ahead of curve, because it's such a low drop creature.
And uncounterably.
Yeah. And I think you don't care if that card's a creature. You're just using its activated ability to ping things.
Yep.
It's so good.
All right, so Lonnie's going to get started off with a Misty Rainforest here. Luke's going to take a draw step. Looks like that was a mulligan to 5. Here is a Temple Garden. Luke's going to go down to 18, and that's going to cast a Delighted Halfling.
And we need to have these life totals up, huh? Oh. Yeah. They're both of them doing some, I guess Lonnie's just doing the fetching.
Yeah, Lonnie's going to fetch up
these triomes, man.
Looks like a Ketria triome here. Yeah, we were talking about that. Me and Jeremiah were talking about that last week, how these triomes are just they make these 5-color decks absolutely insane, right? Two lands and you got all 5 colors. Your Leyline Binding costs 1. You got all your colors of mana. You don't even have to try anymore.
No. And funny enough, we put the cycling on there. What if these cards aren't good enough? No.
Yeah. What if these cards aren't good enough?
You could have made them just have the land types come in tapped. It makes me wonder if we're gonna see a 4 land type cycle where it has 4 land types.
Oh,
and
man.
No cycling, just comes in tapped.
Please don't.
Listen. You said some mess up stuff out loud. I'm gonna say some mess up stuff out loud. And it's the same printing of Temple Garden. That's the new Temple Garden.
Yeah, from what is it called?
Rival, or
Return to
Ravnica
Ravnica.
Allegiances, I believe it is.
Return to Ravnica. Players just developing their mana.
We are going to get another Return to Ravnica next year, too.
Oh, really?
Murders of Karlach Manor is a Ravnica set.
Oh, wow. Here's 3 mana. It's going to be a Ranger Captain of Eos. So that's going to come into play and search up something with mana value 1, right?
One or less.
1 or less.
So it can be a Walking Ballista.
Okay.
Which is important.
Sure. It looks like it's going to be
a
a Haywire
Haywire
Might.
Okay, I don't know what he's expecting here, but...
Ranger Captain doing its best Urza Saga impression. Haywire Might answers Leyline Binding and Beans.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
Card seems very, very good.
It also just deals with Ring. And we've got a...
Here is a Shardless Agent, so that's going to be a Beans.
Just putting that... Oh, are we countering?
Ranger Captain is going to get sacrificed with the Cascade trigger on the stack. So I believe we still reveal, though.
Correct. It just doesn't... You can't cast it.
Yes, okay. So we still reveal. And then all the cards will go to the bottom.
Yeah, so we're going to see a Beans revealed, and then everything go to the bottom. This is actually a pretty heads-up play from Luke. So yeah.
So does that Beans just remain in exile then?
No,
it'll go to the bottom.
Yeah, the way that Cascade works is it says any cards revealed this way that weren't cast go to
the bottom. Okay.
So that includes like if you choose to not cast it.
Sure.
Which is like that's a heads up play from Luke. Like it kind of sucks because it's a one for nothing.
I know. I don't think so because
it did draw the card.
Yeah, not having that Beans in play, super important. And the Ranger Captain replaced itself.
Yeah.
With an answer to a Beans.
So what are we casting here?
Here is 2 mana. It's going to be
the
Soul Cauldron, and this is uncounterable.
Yep. So he gets to now exile his Ranger Captain.
Right, and then Lonnie just never gets to play non-creature spells ever again.
As long as Luke has creatures to sack.
Yeah.
There is some amount of setup here. It's not an auto lock. That's sort of what I like about the Cauldron is it does require like some amount of setup, some amount of play power.
Yeah, and you have to have a board presence,
yes.
Right? Like if you have nothing in play, it kind of just does nothing.
Exactly. You're investing in when you develop your board.
Here is 3 mana for a Teferi Time Raveler. Looks like Windswept Heath is going to get sacked here in response.
But yeah, Luke's going to have some sort of answer to this. Just get a basic forest. Is it an answer, or are we just flashing something in? That's always.
He does have Orcish Bowmasters in his deck.
Okay, so maybe we're Bowmastering.
Yeah, we'll get a little Bowmaster in play before this Teferi resolves.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, can't flash in the Bowmasters after the Teferi's here. So.
And probably doesn't want to bounce Bowmasters with this Teferi either. This does put Lonnie in a spot where he has to make sort of a rough decision. Like, are we ticking up and just letting it eat a hit?
Now, actually, the Orc armies synergize with the Soul Cauldron really, really well because they get the counters on them when they come into play.
Yeah. So now he's going to get to ping something and make sure that we remember this trigger. Yeah, he's gonna.
So Teferi down.
He's gonna kill Teferi, make his thing bigger. Yeah. Okay. Sort of, yeah. That the Bowmasters is such a clean answer for that Teferi.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this in our little postmortem with Lonnie there.
Yeah.
About how I don't really think that this deck fears Bowmaster too much. You have the 4 Solitudes.
Yes.
You have the Fire Ice. You have the Furies.
Yeah.
You have plenty of answers to it. Like, when it comes down, it's probably going to hurt you a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like you obviously don't want to see this card across the table from you, but your deck is equipped to deal with it.
Yeah. Oh, and here's a Grist the Hunger Tide.
It's not uncounterable.
Nope.
The Delighted Halfling is still untapped. So Grist is going to come down plus mill a Delighted Halfling, and then we'll get an Insect token.
And notably, he can have some more mana dorks now if he casts this. Oh, he's just going to get in
3 mana.
So he has
3 damage.
He has the Soul Cauldron in hand.
Yes.
I need to ask you a question.
Answer.
When you exile something with Cauldron, does it put the exiled cards does it exile the card with a counter on them, Or does it just exile them under that Cauldron specifically?
I don't believe so. It just says cards exiled with Agatha's Soul Cauldron,
so
etc.
If you deal with that game object, it resets the Cauldron.
Let me look it up real quick just to make sure. But I believe redundant copies of Agatha's Soul Cauldron do not see each other. So it says, creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have all activated abilities of all creature cards exiled with Agatha's Soul Cauldron. So the Soul Cauldron only knows what itself is exiled.
Sure.
So if the Soul Cauldron gets bounced or flickered, something like that, it resets its knowledge.
Sure. Okay. That makes sense. Sorry, I know that there's some cards that only that keep track of these kinds of things, specifically the Doughty Voidwalker, or the Karn with the silver counters.
Yep. So Soul Cauldron is going to exile the Ranger Captain.
Yeah.
And then it looks like the Insect token is going to... where did the Insect token go? Did he sack it so that Lonnie couldn't cast non-creatures?
I think so.
Oh, no. I think the Fire Ice, actually.
Oh, yeah, 1/1.
So the Fire Ice got pointed 1/1, one at the Insect and then one at the Orcish.
But he was able to pump the Bowmasters.
Yeah, he pumped the Bowmasters with that. So
and there's a Beans.
Here is a Beans.
Haywire Might in hand, ready to deal with the Beans.
That's going to come down and draw a card.
And deal another damage.
The Bowmasters will trigger.
This is just accumulated value from Luke's side. Really interesting to see the non-Beans deck. Oh, here's Fury. The non-Beans deck really trying to accumulate value. So what are our targets here? Probably the Bowmasters and the...
certainly the Bowmasters, I would think.
And
so Beans is going to trigger.
And he's going to ping, and oh my god.
Looks like he'll deal 1 damage to the face here, and then the army will go up to 4 counters. So Lonnie just thinking about how to spread up this damage. So it looks like...
Oh, he's going to ping the...
we did a 2-1-1 split here. All right.
Did one of those cards already have a damage marked on it?
It did, yes,
Okay.
from the Fire Ice.
Sure.
The Orcish
Cool.
Bowmasters had a damage marked on it. So.
Smart. I like that play.
All right. Is the Shardless Agent getting in the red zone here?
I think it's getting jiggy. Luke's at 9 right now, and that's not nothing.
Here is Solitude. So that's going to draw a card with the Beans and take care of the army token. So like I said, just like that, the Orc army, it created tension, but at the end of the day, the 5-color Beans deck was able to answer all of the value that Luke had accumulated there. And he's not left empty-handed. He still has the Cauldron, he still has the Grist.
Yeah.
Still plenty of magic left to be played here, but it's just insane how much value that was able to generate, and still has 4 cards left.
Yeah, that's sort of the part that I'm like, he hasn't really spent a lot of his card advantage on dealing with these things. Like, you're not 2-for-1ing yourself. You're basically just getting a free kill spell.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
and if we get to a stage of the game where there's multiple copies of Beans in play, it just becomes this incredible snowball that is impossible to fight through.
I really get why people were excited about this card now. Like, it took me a little while to be like, I don't really get it, but it's so clean.
Yeah, it like we were talking about when we were talking to Zacho. It seems insane to me that we are cascading into a 2-mana enchantment.
Yeah.
Like, every Cascade deck ever has been some unfair machine. And this deck is just, it's still an unfair machine, but it's wild to me that we're cascading into a 2-mana
We've got
enchantment.
8 power or an enchantment that really doesn't truly it doesn't impact the board. Like, it's not a board impacting card.
Haywire Might's going to come down and take care of Lonnie's copy of Beans.
But I mean, truthfully, Modern has sort of been... There's a lot of decks in Modern that migrate away from board to hand, to card advantage presence as sort of how they take over the game. Grief is sort of not Grief, but Scam is sort of like one of those quintessential decks where it doesn't operate necessarily on board position. It doesn't want to have this huge lateral spread across the board. It just wants 1 or 2 threats. That are
It's fighting a resource game.
Yeah. And Beans wins that resource battle every time.
I think so. Yeah.
It's literally growing resources out of the ground.
The magic beans.
It do be. How many cows do you think he traded for those?
Just one cow.
Just one cow?
It was very sickly.
Ugh, that poor cow. And so does this deck play swamps?
The beans deck?
Yeah, the beans deck.
No, it's
Just
one
for
island, one plains, one forest.
Okay, but no like triomes with swamps or anything?
No, because it doesn't actually use the black mana.
Okay, sure.
Zako's list had one copy of Murderous Cut. I don't think Lonnie is playing the Murderous
Okay.
Cut, but they have Zagoth Triome
Yeah.
to fix the mana. Rogran Triome getting cycled here.
Looking for some action. Probably.
Here is
okay.
a Leyline Binding to take care of the Cauldron.
Interesting that he's taking care of the Cauldron and not the... okay, so he's using it as an exile point. It just pumps his creature, too. That's wild.
Yeah, the Soul Cauldron is wild. So Fury is going to get exiled out of the graveyard.
He put it under the soul, and it just stays an exile button. It's not tracking that. It did make the bug bigger. Like, the bug now can trade with Shardless Agent.
Yeah, incredible amount of value squeezed out of that 2-mana artifact.
Yeah. A Grist is just a whole game plan on its own, though.
So Shardless Agent going to trade with this insect here. Yes, Grist is its whole game plan. Its own game plan, sorry.
Yeah. Like, the ult on Grist, and we saw this with Luke before.
Right, the ult is you
opponent.
target opponent loses life equal to the number of creature cards you have in your graveyard.
And there's a Spike Feeder. Okay. We're close. Yeah, this is Spike Feeder. If you've never played in Tempest Constructed, is a card from Stronghold. It was a cycle of spikes.
Yep.
Which were cards that came into play with zero. There were 0/0s that came into play with
counters on them.
A set number of counters.
Yep.
You could move counters around.
Yep. So you can remove a counter from Spike Feeder to gain a life.
Yeah. Or you could pay to remove a counter to put a counter on another creature.
Okay.
And so it serves two modes here. One is that it lets you put counters on other creatures to activate, like let them activate off of Agatha Soul Cauldron, or it's combo piece.
Right.
And it just gets them dead.
Yep.
Or gains you infinite life.
Fire Ice looks like it's going to get pointed at the Grist here after a Shardless Agent cascades into a Beans. Lonnie just, I believe, empty-handed.
Is he really?
I believe he is, yes. Grist's going to get plussed. That's going to mill a forest. So another insect coming
bug
for Luke here.
This is, like we said, this is the whole game plan right now.
Well, at this point, I believe both players are empty-handed.
Yeah.
Luke ahead on board a little bit.
No, Lonnie's got two cards.
Lonnie with the Beans in play just needs an elemental, basically.
Basically, yeah. If he gets a Fury.
Here is 3 mana.
It's in
That's going to be
it's Fable.
Fable of the Mirror Breaker. This is another card that Lonnie is playing that Zako was not.
Yeah, and I think that's...
So, obviously, pairs really, really well with the elementals.
Yep. Interesting he's not using the correct token. I saw our token in his binder earlier today.
Yeah.
He has it in the binder because he treasures it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to damage the Magic Dad's Goblin token. And pass it back over to Luke here. Luke's just going to keep plussing this Grist.
Making more bugs. I mean, that's reasonable. Like, any kind of board presence that Lonnie has, like, the more board presence he develops... Oh, and there's a Utopia Sprawl.
Yep.
The more that he develops, the less Lonnie can kind of just destroy him from nothing with Fury.
Sure.
It's just lands. He's just land-handed. There's a Solitude and a Teferi.
Yeah, I mean, that's action.
The Solitude's going to draw him a card.
Yeah. The Teferi's going to come down.
Oh, it's a... What version of Teferi is that? Oh, it's the Japanese.
I believe, yes, that is I think it's actually simplified Chinese, but it's an exclusive APAC promo.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I know that they had those War of the Spark anime versions.
I could be wrong. I don't think that's what that is,
cool.
though, so...
They were a very big deal when they first came out. How many years ago was War of the Spark, Blake?
How many years ago was War of the Spark? 10?
It was 4 years ago.
It wasn't 10 years ago?
No, it does feel like that, though.
So much Magic product coming out. Are you sure?
Nearly positive.
War of the Spark came out in 2019.
Yeah.
Jeez. It's been at least a decade.
Yeah. Because 2020, it led into Throne of Eldraine.
Another copy of Teferi Time Raveler.
The dangers of multiple copies. And
It's going to bounce the other bug.
And drawing cards.
Goblin Shaman token and Shardless Agent going to enter the red zone here.
I mean,
that'll make a treasure token. Looks like we're going to
double
block the Shaman. And Grist will take 2 from the Shardless Agent.
This is sort of allowed Lonnie to get back in the game here. He has a Solitude in hand, right? We know he has a Solitude in hand.
He does have a Solitude in hand, yes.
Yeah. So when he mined his Teferi, he drew a Teferi off of that.
Yes.
Yep. That's pretty impressive. This is sort of a grind fest, man.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by this Abzan Company deck. Luke hits a...
we have a treasure.
If Luke hits a collected company off the top, I think we could see something crazy.
Yeah, he hasn't seen anything. Like, he keeps on top decking lands, and that's sort of the...
Yeah, no Magic player wants to see that.
Is it a Coco?
He does have a few cards in hand, though. So here is...
Ranger Captain?
3 mana for a Heliod. Here is 3 mana for a Spike Feeder.
Yeah, that's infinite life.
I don't know that the Cascade Beans deck can beat an.
Oh, he needs the mana,
life, but he needs another mana to be able to do this. It's 2 mana
because you can gain life off of it. Whenever you gain life, you put counters on it. Yeah, this is.
All right, so Fable is going to flip over here.
Not going to do anything this turn.
Well, he has the Solitude.
Yeah, I mean...
He has the Solitude, so he can take care of the Spike Feeder.
Yeah. But the Fable isn't going to do anything this turn.
The Fable not just yet. It's
not with haste.
Summoning sick at the moment.
They got that part of the design correct. Imagine if that backside had haste. Disgusting.
Why do we always think of ways to make broken cards more broken? Our brain just goes there.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's going to start with a Shardless Agent. So the Solitude by itself drawing a card is not good enough. We need another Beans in play first.
Well, of course. Look at how thin his deck is. I just think it's so funny that it's like, what if I want to draw my whole deck? That's what these Bean decks want to do, is they just want to draw their whole deck. There's another Leyline Binding.
Looks like this Leyline Binding is going to get pointed at Grist.
Smart. Could take it to that Heliod, but I don't think it's anywhere near. He's going to gain some life. What are we doing here?
No, he doesn't need a mana, because you just remove a counter to gain infinite life.
Yeah, so he's going to...
You don't need a... Yeah, you don't need the 2 mana to go infinite.
Luke, what are you doing? Luke. Just 6. Yeah, I don't think Beans can kill him now.
Yeah. There is the Walking Ballista.
Now he can kill him.
Well, he has the Solitude here. He can unload in response,
but like,
right?
if I'm Lonnie, I'm like, okay. Oh, he can... Oh, no, but...
And we're done here.
Yeah, because...
So, Abzan Cauldron Company going to win Game 1. These players are going to sideboard. We'll be right back with Game 2.
What a match. Hey!
All right, we're back for Game 2. These players are sideboarded, drawing up their opening hands. Lonnie has done some pretty heavy sideboarding here.
Woof.
Taken out 2 copies of Fire Ice, 3 copies of Fable,
Interesting.
2 copies of Nissa, 2 copies of Beans.
Wow. Whoa.
Yeah. So there is still 1 copy of Beans left in the deck.
Okay.
Brought in 3 copies of Leyline of Sanctity, 2
Okay.
copies of Endurance,
That one's good.
2 copies of Force of Vigor, and 1 copy of Force of Negation.
Interesting. Force of Negation. That's a wild one.
It counters the Cauldron and it counters Company.
Yeah, it does counter company.
Yeah.
Because generally, well, I mean, Luke's a pretty good player.
Counters Grist also.
Yeah, it does counter Grist. So speaking of that, Luke brought in a copy of Haywire Might, so 1 copy of Haywire Might.
Yep.
2 copies of Force of Vigor.
Okay.
Love that card in this matchup.
Yep.
A copy of Boromir Warden of the Tower.
That stops people from cascading, yes.
Yep, and from evoking elementals.
Yes.
And a copy of Shield of the Apocalypse, which he did admit would be hard to cast, but we'll figure it out. I believe was the...
Luke on a mulligan 2-5 here. Lonnie's going to get us started off with a Ketria Triome. And we'll head back over to Luke. Luke's going to play a Verdant Catacombs, pass back to Lonnie. Players just exchanging land drops here. It's going to be a Windswept Teeth and head over to Luke's second turn of the game.
Footsie under the table. Footsie under the table.
Does Luke have a second land?
That's an excellent question.
Oh, we have upkeep plays.
Oh.
Lonnie fetching in the upkeep here. Just going to be a Ketria Triome. Oh, sorry, Rogern Triome. Perhaps we don't have upkeep plays? Oh, no, that was the end of turn. Luke doesn't have a second land.
Ooh. So Luke brought out 2 copies of Auriok Champion and 3 copies of Grist.
Yeah.
So Grist, not great in this matchup, I don't think. And there's a Shardless Agent. We're just going to have Beans. It's just Bean time.
Yeah, he's only got 1 copy of Beans in his deck, so this is going to take forever.
Yeah. Jeez. So we brought the Beans out.
2 copies. He's got 1 left in his deck.
It's... All of these Cascaders are 2-hit the Beans. Sir, what are you doing if not beaning? And now Luke is taking a peek. We got a Bloodbraid Elf, got some Solitude. Is that a Leyline? Yeah, Leyline of... Or not... Leyline of Sanctity. Oh, we're evoking. We're evoking. We're hitting... Oh my god. We're not
Shardless Agent is an artifact.
It's an artifact. He gets to pop 2 for 2.
He still only has 1 land, though.
He's got to Besage You. He's got to Besage You.
I will admit that was pretty sick.
That was sick.
However...
that was the only bean. That was the only bean.
Yes, the beans are gone now.
The beans are gone. The deck is just Cascade.
It's just 4-color elementals now. Omnath is going to do work. Let me tell you.
Okay.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you about what
you know what he's
Omnath
not going to do. Not going to play those beans. There's no beans coming out of that boy. It's just mana. Straight mana, no beans.
Luke's going to crack this Verdant Cat.
Let's go into 17. Ripping a shock right out of there. I've got a Leyline of Sanctity in play, though. So Leyline's going to protect him from the win with Ballista.
With the Ballista, yeah.
We have other ways to deal with that, so it is what it is.
But we can also just play Fair Magic.
Yeah, you can still attack a player through Leyline. Leyline, the beans being gone mean Lonnie has lost a big chunk of his advantage, of his card advantage.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, the deck is still good. I don't want to say that the deck is bad.
His answers to what Luke is doing is so potent. But the answers to what he's doing is so potent, but not having the beans to be able to refill it over and over and over again is not nothing.
Yeah, I will say that Lonnie can buy time. Luke isn't going to present a lot of threats here. He's at 11 though.
Yeah. Yes.
And there's the Haywire.
The 5-color mana base very painful.
Yeah. A lot of fetches, a lot of shocks, just to play on curve.
All right. Here's 1 mana. I got to imagine this is a Leyline binding. It is. It's going to take care of the Orcish Bowmasters.
Card is not as good if it's not drawing you a card. It's still very good.
Come on, bro. It's not all about the beans. Here's a Teferi Time Raveler. That's
the deck is called... It is all about the beans for me. It's the beans for me. What are you doing, Luke? Get your Bowmaster.
Man,
oh!
Haywire Might continues to be a messed up card.
So he's going to bounce, draw, ping, die, get another... He's going to get it back. And now he gets the... he gets it back.
Yes.
It should be a
Effectively, no, because he bounced it with the Teferi. The stack resolves in reverse, my dude.
No, but it comes back into play and it makes the army. No, because the army got bigger.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I was thinking about how the stack
the stack resolves in worse. So effectively, Lonnie just spent 4 mana there to kill a Haywire Might and draw a card.
Yes. I've done worse with mana.
I've paid more to do less.
Yeah.
Back on Luke's turn, jamming
And
into
he's
the
at
red zone.
9
Lonnie
life
down to
now.
9. I can't believe that Lucas accomplishes was just 2 lands. Oh, look, there's a third one.
Yeah, his hand was pretty stacked. If you saw it, it had a lot of action in it. I get why he kept it. Ugh. Yeah, this is... Losing the beans is...
Yeah, that Force of Vigor was backbreaking.
Yeah, it did very good work. Because it dropped his threat and like... If you're Lonnie, you do that. Oh, and there's the Grist. So there's the only copy of... Oh, and he lost to Coco. So this is the only copy of Grist in the deck right now.
We need, like, Fury.
There's an Omnath.
Here's an Omnath.
That'll gain some... Like, if he has a land drop, he's going to gain some life.
So that's going to put Lonnie up to 13. And
but it is
he'll be
gonna-
able to follow this up by fetching and making 4 more
So
mana.
he should have drawn a card and gotten pinged by the Bowmaster there, though.
Oh, when the Omnath
Yeah.
came down. Both players missing a trigger. They missed the triggers. Yeah, it's Comp Ariel.
All right. Fair. Yeah, I mean, if Lonnie's not going to draw the card, he's not going to get the trigger. So... Sort of a net 0 on that, right?
Sure, yeah. So the Omnath will be making mana now. So we have 5 mana.
Yeah.
Looks like double white. So there's going to be a Solitude here to follow this up.
Probably hard cast Solitude.
You'll love to see it. What's it going to be?
Probably deal with that Bowmasters once and
Here
for all.
is... It's a Leyline Binding.
Oh.
So Leyline Binding is going to take care of the Grist, which is Luke's clean answer to...
And another Leyline Binding.
That's Luke's clean answer to the Omnath. So
Yeah.
Lonnie looking pretty good, maybe back in the driver's
If
seat
Luke
here.
draws a Force of Vigor, though, like... Things he does have 2 copies of Force of Vigor in the deck. Mm-hmm. Which he can just cast now.
Yeah, no mana issues here. It's going to be tapping, untapping, tapping 3 mana.
Is it another Grist? Oh, it's a Heliod.
And we'll just pass back over to Lonnie.
Lonnie has used a lot of his removal in this. Do we have another answer? Probably. I mean, the deck is oops all answers, right?
Here is 5 mana. It's going to be
Solitude.
a Fury. All right.
He is squarely.
Well, after a questionable early game, it seems to me like Lonnie is in the driver's seat at this point. Omnath hitting the red zone, knocking Luke down to 12. Here is a Misty Rainforest, so that's going to gain Lonnie. What are we doing? We're going the wrong way. So Lonnie should be at 16 here.
Yep, they got it.
And I'll pass back over to Luke. Luke's going to crack this Verdant Catacombs.
Luke needs if he gets his Walking Ballista, he can take out his opponent's entire board.
Yes, Lonnie is hexproof
Yes.
though, so would not be able to end the game on the spot.
No, if he gets a Force of Vigor, he gets to just take the game back. If he gets a Spike Feeder, he can gain infinite life. And it's a Spike Feeder. He has infinite life now. Well, yeah, he's just going to activate this infinite times. So now Lonnie is faced with a not great board position. Luke just not even updating his life total. Just infinite. Oh, did you see he wrote the infinite symbol?
Yes. Unfortunately, cannot do that on companion.
No. You can't even do it in the game. You have to set a number.
Pick a number, yeah.
An arbitrarily high number.
You know, the decks like this, they don't get played online, which like a lot of metagame discussions come down to results from online.
Yeah.
Decks like this don't get played online because it's impossible to execute these sorts of combos.
Yeah, you have to click, 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 click.
Yeah. Well, not impossible, I suppose, but a huge pain in the butt.
That is not a creature.
Yeah, Heliod is not a creature.
Yeah.
So, Spike Feeder is going to get exiled. Luke will now have 1,000,002 life. He is fighting the good fight.
Lonnie checking the number of cards in his deck.
Fighting the good fight. He has a lot of cards left in the deck.
I don't know that he can win through infinite life.
I mean, Luke still has to find a way to kill him.
And here's even more infinite life.
Luke still has to find a way to beat Lonnie. So.
Lonnie drawing cards is Luke's win con right now. You can't choose to not take your draw step.
Another copy of Fury going to come down here.
And
all creatures in the red zone.
Luke has more cards in his deck than Luke.
I forgot about that. So when Spike Feeder dies, you can put its counters on something else,
yes.
right? But
is that right?
He put those counters on the Heliod.
I don't think that's.
He paid mana to remove the counters and put them on Heliod. But Heliod's not a creature, so can you even do that?
I don't think so.
Interesting. Maybe those dice are just whatever. They turned the phone upside down.
Just 16. Just 16.
Oh, man, this is unhinged. Unhinged
a lot.
Magic.
16 and a lot. Oh, this is good. This is what I like to see. Oh my god. And the Utopia's problem. Might as well. Yep, sure.
Everybody's getting in. Lonnie has Endurances in his deck. He can recycle his graveyard and keep playing.
That is true. He's at 19 now. Oh my god. I mean, if he can recycle his library.
Yeah, he has Endurance in his deck.
Let's see what happens.
Oh no, Bloodbraid cascaded into a force of negation. That's rough.
Any blocks? So Lonnie's going to gain 3. Go to 21. Or 22, yeah. This is getting a little silly now. I say, knowing that it has been silly for quite some time. So what Luke needs to draw is a Walking Ballista and a Ley Line.
He needs a Force of Vigor to destroy that Ley Line.
Yeah, as soon as he draws a Force of Vigor and a Walking Ballista, which, like, assuming infinite time, it's just going to happen eventually.
Yeah, Horizon Canopy going to get cracked and draw a card. Here is 2 mana, 3 mana. It is a...
he can get a Walking Ballista
Ranger Captain of Eos, so this is going to go find a Walking Ballista.
He doesn't have enough mana to do it.
Yeah, he does not have enough mana to pull it off yet, but this would obviously Wrath, or Plague Wind rather.
Plague Wind, yeah.
And then we'd need to draw to a Force of Vigor. Oh, Haywire Mites, so...
Maybe he has the Ballista in hand.
Yeah, I forgot about the Haywire Mites. Those also take care of the Ley Lines.
Yep.
Interesting.
I just can't. I can't. This is... I know we're in the middle of an absurd match. But I was deeply unprepared for this level of buffoonery.
I love to see it.
It's so good.
Teferi's going to go up to 6. Luke still can't play instants. We'll pass back to Luke. Luke's going to untap.
Never could.
Delighted Halfling won't untap, though. It's a bad Halfling.
Oh, no. He
we got
out of bed finally. Is it a Walking Ballista?
Here is 2 mana for an Orcish Bowmasters.
It's going to ping that?
Bowmaster's going to come down and ping Teferi. Make an army token.
I feel like Luke's kind of spinning his wheels here.
Here is 5 mana for a Solitude to take care of the
His hand is just more Heliod's.
He's got double Heliod's in hand. Bowmasters is going to go away. Luke will gain a life, so now he has 1,000,003 life.
Yeah, fair. So hang on, how is these counters getting moved around? Is that from Heliod whenever a creature dies, put counters on something?
Heliod is whenever you gain life, put a counter on something.
Okay. So he's... And here's another... Yeah. He just has Heliod in hand. He needs a walking ballista.
Lonnie's not even attacking.
Oh, there's a
anymore.
Force of Vigor. So we got a Force of Vigor.
Well, I was thinking if he could find a way, I don't know what he's got. He doesn't have like Ephemerate or anything like that. Like we just need to be able to blink this.
Recruiter.
We just need a walking ballista and combo assembled.
Which one? It's the Bowmasters. Okay. So now we got Bowmasters. Yeah.
So the ley line is now dealt.
Yeah. I don't know how many ley lines Lonnie has in his deck, but
3.
Oh God! What if he plays another one?
He has 3 copies of Leyline. Fire Ice. So 1 damage to the Bowmasters, 1 damage to the
Might.
Haywire Might.
To the Might.
So we're gonna get Grist back here.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Haywire Might's going to get sacrificed.
Exile that.
Grist comes back.
Lonnie waiting for that endurance.
Yeah, I got to recycle that deck, man.
Luke does have endurances in his sideboard. Did not bring them in.
Yeah, I mean, when your opponent's deck is built to draw 1,000,000 cards,
Yeah.
you don't want to give them more cards to draw.
Correct.
You would like them to deck themselves.
Oh my gosh. Just Ballista. Just Ballista. If he has a Coco, just Coco. No, Coco would be
Coco
bad.
doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Here's a third copy of Delighted Halfling. Pass back over to Lonnie. Lonnie's going to take a draw step. Was it 1,000,000? Tapping 1,000,000 lands?
Yeah.
Just 5.
And
Solitude.
another Solitude.
Goodbye, Orcish Bowmasters. Do a backflip on your way out. Throw the counter across.
Do a kickflip.
This Delighted Halfling on the left is getting giant. Over on Luke's turn, going to draw a card. What's it going to be?
Just taking up that grist.
Here is 4 mana. Is he casting the Shieldred? Because that's a good win condition too.
Yeah. Shieldred would be quite good.
Collected
Coco.
Company.
Can't hit Shieldred with that. Show us the cards, Luke. Show us the cards.
He needs another Ranger Captain so that he can go find the Ballista. The only hit was a Spike Feeder, it looks like.
Well, he can gain some more life,
Yeah.
so that's good.
He can have infinity times 2 life.
Yeah. As is our wont. Yeah, Ranger Captain would have been pretty sick. You know what card we haven't seen? The Cauldron?
Yeah, not this game. He has not played the Cauldron yet. I believe he only has 2 copies of Walking Ballista in his deck. So
Okay, that makes sense.
drawing to those is going to be
We're going to Fire Ice that.
drawing to those 2 copies of Walking Ballista is quite an ask. Head back over to Luke.
I genuinely don't know
Draw
what's
step.
going to happen. We've reached a level of ridiculousness where, like, Lonnie is hoping to deck his opponent, and Luke is hoping to deck his opponent.
Here's 3 mana.
Shieldred? No, it's... Okay, so now we
Alright,
can get Walking
so
Ballista.
this would be the time to interact, Lonnie.
I don't know that he has it. So he's going to get a Ballista. He's going to cast it at X4. So it comes with 2 counters. And then he's going to pay a white and a colorless to give it lifelink, and then he gets to mow down his opponent.
Hopefully.
Notably, if this doesn't work and it dies, then he just needs that Soul Cauldron, and he can Cauldron it.
Yes.
Look at how small their decks are. Not to shame anybody. It's okay to have a small deck. It's what you do with it.
Yeah, Judge just calling time in the round here. Of course, the feature match will have a 3-minute extension.
Yeah.
Here is...
1, 2...
No? Thinking?
Oh, he's going to
sacrificing the Ranger
There
Captain.
it is.
Heads
Now-
up play
yeah,
from
that's the
Luke
win.
here.
He's silenced his opponent.
Here is the Walking Ballista.
X1? Why didn't you X2?
Because he can put a counter on it.
Oh, from the... He's... Yep,
You
can't
are
do it.
silenced.
You are silenced,
Lonnie,
friend.
unfortunately.
That's
and
game.
that should do it, I guess. Lonnie's going to make him do it.
Yeah, whenever he gains life, he gets to put... So he gets to just remove a counter from
Correct. Yeah, take a counter off the Spike Feeder, then put a counter on the Walking Ballista. So that is going to be
game.
it. Wow, what a grind
What a
fest
match.
there.
That was actually... That was incredible.
I want to remind you that was a mulligan to 5 with a 1-land hand from Luke. Absolutely insane. All right, so round 2 will be wrapping up in just a few minutes here. The judge already called time in the round, so we'll be right back with round 3.
Be back.